Parshas Balosha, this past week's Parsha, we had a very interesting episode about there are some people who were Tamei Meis, and they were not able to bring the Korban Pesach. Right? There's machlokus who they were exactly. They were either dealing with the Meis Mitzvah, or they were bringing out another Avihu's body from the Kodesh Kodashim, or they were carrying Yosef Atzadik's Aron. So the Tamei Meis, they couldn't bring the Korban Pesach. Right, so they came to Moshe and they said, Lama Nigara, why should we be left out from the rest of Klal Yisrael? Why should we not be able to bring the Korban Pesach? So Moshe says, okay, so wait here, I'm going to go ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu what the halachas are. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers and gives him, there's something called the Pesach Sheni, you can bring it the next month, and he said, Iyun. So the question is, why weren't we told about the halachas of Pesach Sheni in Mitzrayim when we got the original halachas of Korban Pesach? Why wasn't this one of the halachas given in the beginning? That if you bring the Korban Pesach, fine, but if you're Tamei and you're not able to bring the Korban Pesach, don't worry, there's a makeup date, right? The next month. It sounds like if they would not have asked, why are we left out? We would not have had this whole din of Pesach Sheni, right? So Rabbi Rucham answers with a beautiful word, and he says like this: there's a pasuk, Dirshu Hashem v'uzo bakshu fan of tamid. Seek out Hashem in His might, bakshu fan of tamid. Seek out His face, tamid, always or constantly. You have to constantly seek out HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he asks the question, what is it? Why do I have to seek out HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Right? I have to constantly seek out HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's this business of constantly seeking out HaKadosh Baruch Hu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not found. He can't make Himself known to me. I can't find Him if I don't constantly seek Him out. And it's similarly, we say every day in Ashrei, Karov Hashem l'chol karav. Hashem is close to all who call out to Him. Right? What? And if I don't call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He's not going to answer me? HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what's going on inside my mind. He knows what my needs are. He knows what I want. Why do I have to call out to Him? This is a question on the entire Tefillah, if you really think about it. Why do I have to call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? He's not going to answer me if I don't call out to Him? So the Rucham answers, yeah, this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu works. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is only going to give you something if you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you ask for it. You're Darish for it, you're Amal, you're Yageya, you put in the Amelis, the time, the effort, and you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want this, I really need this, or I want something. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that point will say, fine, you want it, you're asking for it, I'm going to give it to you. And he brings, I'll explain this with the Tanchuma, Medrash Tanchuma that he brings. The Luchos were 6 Tfachim long. Alright? And it says there that Moshe was holding on to 2 Tfachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever this means, was holding on to 2 Tfachim, and there were 2 Tfachim between them. The Medrash says, Niskaber Moshe, strengthened himself, V'chotaf, and he grabbed the 2 Tfachim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it came out that he was holding the luchos by himself. Right? Whatever that means. So, it sounds like, we think that Moshe got the luchos with like a nice ribbon on top, and Hashem said, here, go down, my son, and take these to the Jewish people, right? It's not like that. Rabbi Rucham says, Tos Gadol. This is a great mistake. A person should not think that that's how the Torah was given. The Torah entirely was given because Moshe sought it out. And he says there, if not for the fact that Moshe grabbed it away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if not that he showed that he wanted it, he would not have gotten the luchos. He would not have gotten the Torah. Now what does this mean? So, the way I was told over, that the Talmidim of Rabbi Rucham explained it, that everything in the Torah was given over through question and answer. Moshe Rabbeinu said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what can we eat? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him the laws of kashrus. He said, who can we marry? We got the lachas of arayas. What do we do? What is Shabbos? What can we do? What are we not allowed to do? Everything Moshe asked, and he got an answer. There were 2 things that Moshe did not ask. One was Pesach Sheni, and one was the Benos Slavchad. The Benos Slavchad at Parshas Pinchas, and a couple of weeks ago in Elainet, the Slavchad only had daughters, didn't have any sons, and they wanted to know what to do with the inheritance. Because there are no sons, they didn't want to lose out. And then so the daughters came and they asked Moshe about it, so Moshe had to go get the answer from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, he says, yes, it's true. If over here in Parshas Balosha, they would not have asked, why should we be left out? We also want to bring the Korban Pesach. What can we do? How can we make it up? They would not have gotten the Korban Pesach. Pesach Sheni, excuse me. Would not have gotten it. And he says, so that's what you have to do. You have to Dirsh Hashem Buza Bakshu Fan of Tamid. Karov Hashem L'chol Korav. You have to call out. You have to constantly seek HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you constantly seek HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to respond. If you call out and Hashem says, you want it, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, you really want it, now I'll give it to you. But he says on the flip side, and this is when you think about this, what I'm going to say, it's a pachad. It's very frightening thought. He says if a person shows that he is not interested in something, right? He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away that thing from him, which means like this, and he gives an example. Let's say a person cannot wake up on time for Zman Kriya Shema, right? Cannot say Kriya Shema in the proper time, right? He says, and this is his own example he gives, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take away the mitzvah of Kriya Shema for him. Which means like this. We think a person who can't say Kriya Shema in the proper time is just a lazy guy. He can't get out of bed. Like, what do you want? On a constant basis, the guy just can't get out of bed. He's very tired. What do you want from him? He just can't get out of bed. It's not like that, Rabbi Rucham saying. This person has shown that what? He's not interested in saying Kriya Shema in the proper time. He's not interested in the mitzvah. See, now HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds to him. You're not interested in my mitzvah? I'm going to take away the ability for you to do that mitzvah. I'm not going to give you the chance to do that mitzvah. It's a frightening thing. Which means if a person realizes he's deficient in a certain mitzvah and he can't fix it up for whatever reason, let's say a bracha achrona. Sometimes you run out right after you eat and you're dead in the car 5 minutes later, like, oh, I don't believe it. I forgot to make a bracha achrona. I forgot to bench, whatever it is, right? And this constantly happens. And you say, why can't I just sit down and say benching? Why can't I just do it? Rabbi Rucham is explaining, you know why? Because you've shown that you're not interested in that mitzvah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is responding. And he's telling you, you're not interested? I don't want your mitzvah. I'm going to make sure that you forget. I'm going to take away the ability for you to do the mitzvah. So it's a frightening thought. But I was thinking, let's say about a lot of brachas we say during the day. Let's say the bracha of Ashiyatza, right? Person relieves himself, and we talked over here about the importance of the bracha of Ashiyatza, right? About how important, and how wondrous the guf is. And a person comes out of the washroom and he says the bracha of Ashiyatza with kavana, and he knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me nekavim, spiritual cavities and physical cavities and spiritual openings, right? And Baruch Hashem, if something opens up too much or it gets clogged too much, I won't be able to survive even for a minute. I won't be able to daven properly, etc., etc. What's HaKadosh Baruch, right? So HaKadosh Baruch is going to look at this person and say, you appreciate your body? You appreciate this wonderful gift that I've given you, that you're able to relieve yourself? You appreciate it? You know how I'm going to respond? I'm going to give you the ability to be able to say that bracha. But if Chalila, we come out of the washroom and we just blurb out the bracha, we don't give any thought to it whatsoever. The 2 minutes that it takes to say the bracha, we don't give any thought. What do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu's response is going to be? You don't like the mitzvah? You don't like that bracha? You don't like the Matana Tova, the great gift that I've given you? Chalila, HaKadosh Baruch Hu could say, I'm going to make sure you don't have the ability to say that bracha. Whatever it means. I'm going to keep forgetting to say the bracha, or draw your own conclusion. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take away that mitzvah for you. And this is going to be, this is applicable for all of davening, how a person should approach davening, how you should approach brachas, how you should approach things that he has in life. That if you appreciate these things that you have, HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds. And if you chas v'shalom show the opposite, that you're not so interested, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu's response is. And I bring that up especially for the brachas that we're going to do tonight in Mirz Hashem. And if you take a look at page 2 in the questions, we're going to get through a couple brachas we're going to learn to appreciate certain things. We're up to the bracha, I think, of Pokeach Ivrim, right? Last week we talked about, last time actually, Shasani Kirtzono, the bracha that the women make, and the specialty of women. We'll just leave it at that. And anybody wants to know more about this year, or anybody wants to know more about that, I think it's obvious. Yeah, if your mother or sister, whoever it is, but they could go listen into this year. Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. There you go. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. So question 9 goes as follows. Before we start Pokeach Ivrim, let's just see the questions really quick. Pokeach Ivrim, we give a bracha, Hashem will give sight to the blind. Question 9, why do we add to the blind? Just say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who gives sight. Are we all blind? You have to say such a statement. Who gives sight, right? We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He gives us sight. Number 10, and this goes for 10, 11, 12, and basically all the brachas. I don't know why I just put it in here, but how can a person bring himself to an appreciation of this bracha? And all the brachas we're going to talk about giving us clothes, we're talking about, we'll see, straightening us out. Number 11, for the bracha of Mal Bisha Rumim, who clothes the naked. What is so great about clothes that we include this bracha every day? Do we stop for a second to think about how great clothes are? We have a bracha for it, right? Rabbi Victor Miller has, in one of his tapes, it's printed in the book Rabbi Victor Miller Speaks, I think it's in volume 2. He has something called 10 Steps to Greatness. The things that a person can do on a daily basis, they're things that take no more than 2 minutes. And you do these 10 things, he says, if you do it for a month, you're going well, and you should reevaluate whether you're actually doing it, keep track of yourself. If you do these things will lead to greatness. These are 10 steps to greatness. One of them is, when you get to this bracha, Mal Bisharum, who clothes the naked, person should take 30 seconds to think about his clothes. Think about something on your clothes. Right? Think about what would happen if I didn't have something called buttons. What if I didn't have pockets? Where would I put everything? What if HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't create something called pockets, right? Where would everything go? I'd have to walk around with the bag the whole time, right? He said, appreciate your clothes, appreciate the stitching, etc., etc. But, so that might be an answer, but we'll see what Rabbi Schwab has to say. Matir Asurim, who releases the bound. Who are the bound? Who is bound up? Who are we referring to? Asurim sometimes means prisoners. Who's a prisoner? And 13, Zokef Kefufim, who straightens the bent. When are we bent that we think HaKadosh Baruch Hu for straightening us out? Alright, so we'll stop there, we'll go into it, and if we, go further, we'll get back to the questions. Alright, so we're on page Memvav in the Sefer. It's the right-hand column after the 5 stars. The 5-star Sefer. Okay, the Bracha Pokeach Ivrim, who gives sight to the blind. Min haroi, it is proper. Liskor ha'inayim l'rega, it would be proper for a person to close his eyes for even a moment, v'lachshov, and to think. Eich haisa nires mitziusi umahusi im chas v'shalom nisharti b'matzav kazeh. I think everybody, just for a second, close your eyes. Alright, just think, close your eyes, and say, what if this was my life? This is my life. How would this look to me? Right? How would I be? If this is my life, I couldn't see. Right? Va'az, then you open up, when you open up your eyes, Yavin ha'adam, you understand, kama orev kaya charus, how sweet is the gift of sight. Masoka or v'tov lo'inayim. Koheles writes, matoka or, the light is sweet and it's good for the eyes. I know somebody who's my eldest brother's age, it's around, I think, late 30s, whatever it is. Be nice, my brother. And he goes around and he speaks about his story, how he became blind. I'm not going to say his name just in case he doesn't want, but he goes around speaking about his story all the time. So he's been to different cities, and he came to my yeshiva in Sana, and he spent a Shabbos with us. And he spoke about how his life, regular person, and then he went blind for whatever reason. He had something with his brain, he had a surgery, an operation, whatever, and he lost both his, he lost his sight. He said he lost both his eyes completely on Hanukkah. He said, imagine, it's the one yontif, where you look at something, you look at the candles, and that was it. That yontif couldn't see anymore. And he said, he kept on telling us, he said, you don't understand what it means not to be able to learn. He said, what's the first thing, if somebody asked, what's the first thing you would do when you get your eyesight back? He said, I'm going to go learn. He said, you don't know what it's like to look at words of a sefer. He said, I feel like I'm being taught the entire time. He said, what happens if any one of us were learning something and we don't understand it? What's the first thing you do? You go back and you look it over again. You look at the words. You look at what Rashi's saying in the Gemara. You say, what could he mean? You look it over again. You look at the translation. Look at this. So I just sit there. He said, there are only so many Torah tapes a person can listen to in his life without going crazy. There's only so much a person can handle of that. He said, learning's like that. He said, I have relatives, I have nieces and nephews. I have no idea what they look like. I try and fill them up. My parents say, no, you're totally off. Like, you're off. Mitzad Sheni, he's made great strides in his life. He got a law degree. He's gotten smicha, and I've seen him daven. He has somebody, he said, on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur who stands next to him, and during Shemona Esrei, they daven, mila b'mila, word by word. The guy says a word, he says a word. This guy says a word, he says a word. That's how he davens. He has all types of movements, how to remember things, and in his house he told us that everything has to be in the exact order, always. Nothing can be on the floor. In the refrigerator, everything has to be exact. The oranges has to be here, the apple juice has to be here. Everything has to be totally exact. I mean, that's the life we're talking about. And Baruch Hashem, we are able to see every single day. Ramat Solomon says this, and I don't know if I said it before, but it's worth repeating 1,000,000 times. He says that, I heard him say this myself, that there's a medrash that there's a skula, when you lose something and you give money to a mayor balanes, there's a medrash that we say, Amra binyamin hakol bechezka sumin. Everyone is blind until Hashem opens up our eyes. He says, you know what that medrash means? You go outside and you look at somebody who can't see, and you think he's the abnormal person, right? We all can see, and the person over there he can't see. He says, that's not what the medrash is saying. Hakol bechezkas sumin. You know what? Everybody has a chazaka. We are all blind people. You know why we see? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu has let us see what He wants us to see. And He brought a frightening story. Not everything is frightening tonight, but He brought a frightening story, right? He brought a frightening story. Because Michael Feinstein Zatzal had a daughter who was asthmatic. And whenever she'd have an asthma attack, they used to keep the inhaler right there, so in case she got an attack, she would be able to, help herself. One time she had an attack and they could not find the inhaler. They couldn't find it, and they were searching all over the place. Mamash, they could not find it, and never, because of her attack, she was nifter. She was nifteris from the attack. After she was nifter, they turned around. It was right there on the shelf behind them. They turned around, and the inhaler was right there on the shelf behind them. It's true story. This is not Masio told this over. He said, "How did that happen? How did that happen?" I mean, anybody, how many times anybody has glasses, right? Where's my glass? I don't know where I put my glasses.
Yeah. I had a teacher who was screaming at us in the class, "Where'd you put my glasses? Where'd you put?" And it's sitting on his head, right there, right? And we didn't want to tell him.
How many times does that happen? You lose them. Where is it? You're looking around, and it's in the most obvious place, and you don't know how is it that I didn't look there. Yeah. And of course, always after you get served Meir Balanese, right? After you get the money and everything, then it pops up, right? Yeah. How did that happen? I couldn't see it. What am I, blind? The teretz is HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's opening up our eyes. Pokeach Ivrim. We are all blind. We are all blind people. If we're seeing each other right now, it's for one reason, because Hashem has opened up our eyes and has given us the ability to see. That is why we add who gives sight to the blind. You know why? Yeah, because we are all blind. Hakol b'cheska sumin. Now, people who have glasses should have a little bit more of an appreciation for this. You take off your glasses and things are fuzzy, you can't see properly, whatever it is, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this piece of glass, whatever it is, that if you bend it just at a certain right way, punkuk, now I can see, Baruch Hashem. I can see like a human being. You take it off, Pekech Ivrim, Baruch Hashem, I could see. Beforehand, I couldn't see anything. Now, or however bad your vision is. But this should be something that should be included in a person, try it just any time just close your eyes, turn around, and try and find your way.
I would have thought it was like something more deeper, like this bracha, like having to be a Jew, and our eyes are open more because we have Torah.
That could be also. That could be very well also. 100%. 100%. If that's what you have in mind, it's a very nice pshat. It is a very nice pshat. Our eyes have been opened. People in the world are blind. He's going to say that later on. He says something like that in terms of how Torah opens up. But I think there's something, even not on a deep level.
You're saying it on more physical,
plain level. Yeah. Because remember, these are things that are brachas that are made when a person wakes up. He's supposed to think about these things about himself. But definitely, it's a beautiful pshat. I don't think I've heard that before, and thank you very much. So that's the bracha Pokeach Ivrim. Okay, let's go on to the next bracha. Malbish Arum, who clothes the naked. He says this bracha he haida loirak al sheyesh lanu beged lubush. This is not only on the fact that we have clothes to wear. Why? We were not born with clothes. Kamosha Amar Iyov Arumi Atasmi Batanimi. Iyov says I came out naked from my mother's stomach. Now I don't know. He needs a pasuk to prove this. Like go out and see every baby comes out. But okay, look. You bring a pasuk from Tanakh. It's always
the previous one. Relates, we were blind.
What do you mean?
We were blind. We couldn't see how they came out.
Couldn't see, yeah. So you got a pasuk there. So he said. So fine. So the clothes that we're referring to not only refer to our physical clothing, but he says Elagam ala begadim shenasnu b'matana la'adam arishain kishiyatza migan eden acharachet. Also the clothes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Adam Harishon after he had his sin with the fruit that he ate. And it's probably not an apple, by the way. That's I think came from Snow White. Just agav. Shekishahedif Adam Arisha, that's totally not negated to this year. Shekishahedif Adam Arisha Tviyos Gufa v'Tavoisav Lidvar Nechmad Lamare Al Hatzius LaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Adam Arisha preferred to go after his human desire to eat that Davar Nechmad Lamare, something that was pleasing to the eye, meaning the Eitz Hadas, and he chose that over the command from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to not eat it. Azai, at that point, nevda mimenu ma'alasai vis gabra chashivas gufo habahamis. Right, a person is, we've talked about this before, is comprised of two parts. The physical, it's called bahamis, is more animalistic, the physical body, and then there's the spiritual body. And it's a constant struggle between the two. And when a person goes more and more mitzvahs, more and more ruchnis, he's pulling himself more towards his spiritual side. But when he does averis and he clings more to the physical world, he's pulling even in his neshama down. He's pulling himself down. So he says when Adam Arishon ate from the Eitz Hadas, he lost that tremendous, he was on a very extremely high level. If you look at the beginning of the second paragraph, Gemara Chagiga talks about Adam Arishan, etc., etc., and then Derech Hashem in the beginning talks about Adam Arishan, how he was before the Chet. And after he ate from the Eitz Hadas, he lost it, and his body took over. At that point, you hear this? He said at that point when he did that Avera, there was no difference. There was no difference between man and animal. There was nothing that looked like man was superior to animal. Why? Because they're running around without clothes. We're running around without clothes. Adam Arishan did something which brought himself down to more physical.
Once he ate the Eitz Hadas, his eyes were open and he was naked.
Yeah. But there's a lot more. Yeah, he was, but he didn't realize it.
Right.
They said we're embarrassed. It wasn't something. It was different. The whole thing back then was totally different. And the Derech Hashem talks about how if Adam Arishan would not have, there were two ways like plan track A and track B for the world. There's those Choose Your Own Adventure books. They still have them today. They had them when I was young anyway. They come to the end of the page. You want to do this? You want to jump off the cliff, or you want to go here? Turn to page 50, and if you want to do this, go to page 45, right? So there's two plans for the world. There's plan A. Adam Arishan doesn't eat from the Eitz Hadas, and there's plan B. He does. So if Adam Arishan would not have eaten from the Eitz Hadas, he would have gone track A, and there would have been total tikkun to the world, etc., etc., etc. But because he ate from it, so now we're here. This is how the world looks after right. You know what it would have been.
We don't know what
you know what it would have been.
Well, right now it's not too bad.
Right, so you know what it would have been. So, but he brought himself down to the point where it was not recognizable, because we were both walking around, and we walked on 2, they were walking on 4s. It was not recognizable. So what happened at that point? Now, at that point, the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us this beautiful matana, this beautiful gift called tznius, modesty, which shows which makes a human being more pleasing than the animal. That we cover our entire body with clothes, chutz mipanav, except for our faces. Now this is something to say. Oh, the Arabs they're more modest than the Jewish women because they cover all the way up to their eyes. They look like big garbage bags, right? Shabbat. I say that. I'll tell you because because my mashgiach said a story where his wife was in England. He's from England. She was going to a store and there was somebody standing outside the door.
Perfect.
And the store manager came out and there were 2 black things just right there in the front of the store, and he wanted to move them because he thought they were trash bags. And all of a sudden they moved, and they saw these 2 eyes pop out. There's 2 Arab women who sent their rich Arab women. They sent their people inside to shop for them, and they were waiting outside. That's why I say that. Anyways, so right? Wow. So why don't we cover our faces? He says, our face is what is our mila over every other creation. Our face has a lot more to do, right? Our mouth is moisar adam be'ema, right? We have one up on them. It's that we can speak, right? The person is a medaber. Animals can't speak. There are a lot more things we can do with our eyes. We can look at divrei kedusha. A person can be mekadesh himself. We say in gal einai ve'abita niflos mitarasecha. Open my eyes and let me see wonders from your Torah. Just by looking at the Torah itself, a person can gain kedusha. The person's eyes can be mekadesh. An animal can't be mekadesh things by looking at things, and he can't be mekadesh food by eating it. We can bring karbanos, we can eat karbanos, we can be mekadesh ourselves, we can sanctify ourselves. And we don't cover v'yada, we don't cover our hands. And he says, Makom mishkan kayach adam. That's the place where the person's strength is. Shaydei elu shnei chelkei aguf. Nasan HaKadosh Baruch Hu ha'enoishius l'bnei adam shebehem kaycha u'memshalta al kol sha'ar b'rei mata. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us our clothes, and they cover us, and that gives us the superiority over all the other lower beings. Ubracha zu hi haida lakadosh baruch hu asnina lanu ma'ila zu shel tznius v'kisei arumim. This bracha is a haida to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the fact that He gave us this midah of tznius and that we are covered. Now, it's not only the physical clothing. One can think also about his guf at being clothing for his neshama. That we're down here, we have something called the guf, which is clothing to our neshama. Rabbi Beryl Gershenfeld used to say he's a Rabbi in forgot the place in Eretz Yisrael, and in the Mudis summer camp for Bali Tshuva, Machon Shlomo in Eretz Yisrael and Har Nov. So I heard him say, he was talking about what clothes do for a person. Clothes show that there's more to me than what's underneath, right? When a person if you just be without clothes, you think that's it, right? That's all there is to the person. When I cover over something, that means that there's more to me than you can see. You can't see everything about me. When I wear a yarmulke on my head, that means there's something over me. It doesn't end over here. There's something more. I'm covering it over. There's something more to me than just what you see. There's more, and that's why I cover it over. And that's also the body, which is clothes for the neshama.
But that's how you are what you wear. You feel what you wear. There
is a concept called chitzonius ma'or hapanimis, that a person's outer actions impact his inner feeling, which means, and anybody knows, if you go to a baseball game and you put on a black hat, or let's say you put on a spudik, you put on a bekisha, and you put on even fake pace, right? Going to a baseball game is going to feel different than if you'd go in a polo shirt, shorts, and khaki shorts, loafers, and hat on backwards, right? You're going to feel different. Why is that? Why are you going to feel out of place? Because if you wear certain clothes, you're going to feel like they impact you. You do certain outwardly actions, they impact you. The more mitzvahs a person does, the more outward actions, and we learned this out from the Nazir. The Nazir, when he finishes his time being a Nazir, he has to bring a carbon. Why is that? So one of the Farshim say, because it looks as if this person is a Nazir. He made himself totally holy to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He raised himself, he raised his bar. And now it looks as if he's going away from that. He's stopping his Nazirs and he wants to, I had enough, I've gone up here, I've had enough from these levels of Kedusha. I want out. So therefore we tell him to bring a carbon, which means like this. And Rav Henoch Leibowitz explains that it means that it looks as if by doing an action of leaving these levels, he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave these levels. But by physically going away, those physical actions of cutting your hair, of now he's allowed to drink wine again, they're going to have an impact on him. And we're afraid it's going to have a negative impact on him. He's like, yeah, okay, I was holier, before him, but now I can go back to being a regular person, etc., etc. So what do we tell him to do? Bring a carbon. Before you're done, bring a carbon. Do an act of kedusha, which is going to help you retain that level. You do positive acts. What they do is they help you retain those levels. You do negative acts, or you don't do the positive acts. You just do regular, things.
Does a Nazir have to break his? I guess
depends on what it is. It depends on what he. Stam is 30 days. Yeah. So
maximum year. No, it's minimum year.
I don't know, a year. I think it's that long. No, we'll talk about it after. But that's what we do. We tell them, do physical action because that's you're going to hold on to that level. So you're right. The person wears certain clothes. You definitely feel when you go to sleep, right? You're not putting on a suit and tie. Why not? Because you want to get into bed. You want to be in the mood of getting into bed. So you don't dress up. You put on your pajamas. Whatever you put on, you're ready to go to sleep. It's more in you. Okay, they have an effect on you. Your clothes have an effect. Your actions have an effect. Everything you do has an effect. So clothes are a very important part of a person's life. And every other external action that you do has an impact on you. Okay, now the next paragraph, we're just going to skip. It's a little bit off the topic, and I'll just sum it up for you. It just says that there are two minhagim as to if this bracha, Mal Bisharim, comes before Pokei Achivim or comes afterwards. And so the minhag in Frankfurt was that we say Mal Bisharim before Pokei Achivim, and it's a little bit of a halachic issue why they say that. Anybody who wants to go into it is more than welcome to. But now let's go on to page Mem Zayin. The bracha of Matir Asurim, who releases the bound. Inyan brachos elo. He starts off the brachas that we're saying now, and I assume it's starting from Pokech Ivrim. What is the reason for them? Why are we saying these brachas? So he says like this: Shnasim leiv, we should pay attention. Al roiv ha'toiva sha'oisa HaKadosh Baruch Hu imanu bechol yom. That we should pay attention to the abundance of good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with us every single day. V'lo nishkach es Hashem aidei histaklus al chiyus ha'adam kedavar tivi. We should not forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the fact that we look at things as natural. Meaning, these brachas are to instill in us this concept. Think about this. Nobody has a chazaka on life. Nobody has a chazaka on the gifts that he has been given to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just because I woke up today, Chas v'Shalom doesn't mean the same thing for tomorrow. Just because I had all my abilities today doesn't mean tomorrow I'm going to wake up with a tremendous backache. Right? Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you have no idea, your back, I slept funny. Right? Now you appreciate your back. Now you appreciate that you can turn your neck. Right? Every day we say these brachas. You wake up and your eyes are still fuzzy and you go, wipe them, oh, now I can see, right? Realize, you know what you're saying? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you that ability. Say a bracha. Pokeach Ivrim. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam malbish arumim. I have my clothes. Baruch Hashem. It's not a natural thing that I went to the store and I bought all my clothes. I should have them. Right? It's not a natural thing that now I can get out of bed. I can stand up upright. I have my shoes. I can speak. I can smell. All my senses are with me. We should not take this as a natural thing. These are not natural things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to us. They're gifts. To any point He can decide what to do with them. And that's the point of all of these brachas. Brachas help us remember that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who's giving it to us. Why? Because we say, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. We say the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we remind ourselves, oh, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who's giving us the sight. And we admit, we thank for this bracha al godel chasto shenasan lanu koach tnuas haivarim. What is this bracha matu who releases the bound? That we give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the tremendous chesed. You see how he keeps writing that it's a tremendous tova or it's a tremendous chesed that we are able to, we have movement, we can move our limbs. Shebishas hashina, when we were sleeping, hayinu me'ein elu shrachmanu litzlan einam yichon lahazis shum ever. When we were sleeping, we were not conscious, even if we were moving, we're not conscious we were moving. But we were similar to those who Rahman al-Islam can't move. We were sleeping, we were in that one position. And now that we've woken up and we have our strength back, we are able to move. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us the ability to move our limbs. It's included in this bracha. We should include to this the ability to speak, to hear and speak. When we were sleeping, you look at it, we were in solitary confinement. We couldn't communicate with anybody. Nobody could communicate with us. Anybody who tries to wake us up knows that, right? That's it, right? We couldn't hear nothing. The alarm clock goes off. We can't hear anything. Kid gets up. We can't hear anything, and we couldn't speak. We were locked up. So who are the bound that we're talking about? Ourselves. We were sleeping. We couldn't move. At least consciously, we couldn't move. And now we wake up. And Baruch Hashem, we can move all my limbs. Right? Everything works. Because Baruch Hu gave us the ability to be able to move.
Sorry, go ahead.
He brings up an interesting point here because he's talking about speaking and hearing, but yet we don't say bracha for that.
I know. That's probably why he's including it in this bracha.
Speaking.
Yeah.
On that note, God forbid, chas v'shalom, one of us cannot, boker even or zokef kefuvim, whatever. Do we still say those brachas?
Next bracha, we'll explain. Yeah. Way to go, Bear. Next bracha, zokef kefuvim.
I promise you, I'm not skipping.
Who's straight into the bench.
Just sound.
You do know how to read it. That we're able to stand upright and get out of our beds. Let's say a person's sick and he can't get out of bed, or if a person can't see, etc. You also have to make the bracha. Why? Because we say the ki brachas nikva'u al minag ha'olam. It's not meaning you're right. If I can personally do these things, so yeah, I have a greater appreciation. But the bracha I'm making is the way of the world. Is what the general populace, even though, right, the general populace does these things, they're able to get up, they're able to stand upright, they're able to hear, they're able to speak, they're able to see. So I make that bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave this ability of sight.
But I'm also going to guess here that you're not necessarily talking only physical.
Let's hear.
It's just, when things get put into perspective, thanks for putting me right. Just
straightening me out.
You straighten me out. Just your whole, the way you look at things.
You hear what he's saying? He's saying we're thinking it's okay if you straighten the bend. Maybe my actions have been bent. Maybe I've been on a crooked path. Maybe I haven't been doing the right thing, and that's caused me to go crooked. Okay. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has straightened me out.
Here's a scenario: Nazi Germany, or even Rome, taken in as a slave. You're a slave. You're literally a slave. Are you going to say the bracha?
Sure. You know why?
For not making me a slave?
Because we said, I don't know if you're here, but we said that bracha, those brachas are telling me levels of mitzvahs. I am a complete Jew, so I was taken captive by somebody else, but I still have a chiyuv, I still have the responsibility to do all the mitzvahs.
You're a slave to them, but you're not a slave to them.
Right. So I'm still an eved who we take is only able to do mitzvahs
so then they all have to be spiritual.
Why?
Well, I think there's a level, but I think there's a level of both.
There's
definitely there are levels definitely of both. Definitely levels of both. And again, just because we're saying this pshat that we see in the Sefer doesn't mean this is definitely not the end all and be all, right? We know that Anshe Knesset Agdol, 120 Chachamim, from them were Nevi'im, had prophecy infused in davening. And look, even a person's davening, really, it should not be the same every day. Really, you say Shemona Esrei 3 times a day. Chances are, one time during Shemona Esrei you'll have more kavanah on one part than the other part, and you'll mean different things. In fact, I think they say from the Arizal that if a person had different kavanas every day for during his davening, every day of his life, he still wouldn't get to the endless amount of meanings that were put into these words. These words that they put in, they infuse so much into these words. These words have tremendous power, and they mean tremendous a lot. So, like we're saying, right? In Eved, you're right. A person is not a slave on a physical, on a plain level. Can think, I'm not a slave. Baruch Hashem, I'm a free person. But there are different levels. I have higher, and therefore what? So I have different levels of mitzvahs. I have a high level of mitzvah. But even if I am a slave, I can still make that bracha. I'm a Jew, full Jew, that I'm able to do these mitzvahs. And you're right. So kefufim can mean that, and pokech ivrim, and malbish harum can mean different types of clothes that we have. So this bracha, I know, so kefufim, but this will stop. I remember I was in Queens many years ago, and I used to daven in a certain yeshiva, and I saw the guy there, mamash, an older person, but he was mamash bent over the table. He could not pick himself up. And to me, I just looked at it. I was like, you have to think of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ever wake up with a backache? You wake up one morning, you're like, oh my goodness, right? You cannot move. Painful. And the trick is not to wait till you get the backache. The trick is to think of HaKadosh Baruch Hu before it comes.